Setting up an assignment in Blackboard has a number of advantages. First of all, it's fairly easy for students to submit their work from within the system. Second, there are options for things like checking for plagiarism and academic integrity issues. Third, from an instructor standpoint, there's an inline grading option that lets you grade from directly within the system, which means you don't necessarily have to download or print student work. To set up an assignment in Blackboard, you're going to start in one of your course sites. From there, you can choose to put an assignment pretty much any content area you feel like. However, we often choose assignments simply because it's an already designated area and it's an easy one for students to find. So if you click on assignments, that will open up the content area, and then if you come up to the top here and hover over the assessments option, you'll see that there is an assignment choice that you can make. So if you click on that, that will take you through to the interface that lets you set up the assignment. So the first thing that Blackboard will need is a name for the assignment. So we'll call this sample assignment because that's what it is. The next thing it's going to need down here is some instructions. Now, you have a couple of different options here. The first one is that you can simply type or copy and paste any instructions into that box. So if you did happen to have some instructions ready to go, as I do here, I can simply go to my file, copy those, jump back to my assignment, and paste that in. Alternately, if you do happen to have a file with the instructions ready to go for students, or perhaps if you have a worksheet or something else that needs to be filled out, you can actually attach those files here as well. So if we go down a little further, we have this option called Assignment Files. And if you click on Browse My Computer, that will let you navigate through your system and grab the files that students are going to need to have access to. So in this case, I'm going to grab my assignment, I'm going to select Open, and that's going to attach down here at the bottom. The other thing that Blackboard would like is a due date. Now, you may not have a due date for this assignment, which is fine. In most cases, though, people do tend to have times when they're due. So if you do want to have a due date, all you have to do is check the box next to due date and then put in the date that that assignment is due. So we'll make this one due a little bit in the future. We'll make it due by end of the day. Now, all this effectively does is means that any assignments that come in from students that are past the due date will be marked late in the system so that you can easily tell which ones weren't in on time. One of the other things that is required here from Blackboard is the number of points possible. So if you're creating an assignment that has points attached to it, Blackboard's automatically going to generate a grade center column for that. So here you'll need to put in however many points you want to grade the assignment out of. So in this case, let's say we're going to make that out of 25 points. If you do have rubrics set up and ready to go, you can grab them here at the same time. If you are concerned about academic integrity around your assignments, Blackboard does have a built-in tool called SafeAssign that you can use to check student work against the internet, the ProQuest database, and other student work. To turn SafeAssign on, it actually needs to be turned on a by assignment basis. To do that, you're going to come over here to Submission Details. Click on that to open out the options. Now, you do have a few different options here. You can do individual submission, which is the most common, but you also have the option to do a group submission if you already have groups set up in your class. This is also where you can adjust number of attempts. So if you say wanted to give students multiple opportunities to complete an assignment so that they can continue to better their work, you could change that here. The important bit, though, from a plagiarism perspective is this option down here that says check submissions for plagiarism using SafeAssign. And all you need to do is turn that on. Now, some of the other options here are up to you. You do have the option to let students view their originality report if you feel so inclined. And some people actually use this as an activity in letting students have a look at what they've been doing wrong, fixing it, and then giving them multiple attempts to resubmit. So if you're interested in having students self-fix their work, that is an option that's available to you. This final option here that offers the option to exclude submissions from the institutional and global references database is one that we usually recommend leaving as is. This is because if those student submissions are excluded, they won't be available to compare future student work against, which is one area where academic integrity can be a challenge. In terms of the other options down here, most of the things that are available to you under grading options and display of grades are fine as they are. So most cases people do not tend to use anonymous grading, although it is an option that's available to you right here. And since we don't use TAs at Niagara College, you're mostly not going to enable delegated grading either. In terms of display of grades, which is that third option, most of these settings are fine as they are. Generally speaking, you'll want the work to be included in grade center calculations. You'll probably want to show students their work. If you did want to temporarily hide that while you were grading, you could turn that off. And these are the same defaults as you will find in the grade center. So showing average and median statistics is off by default. The other option that you then have available to you is the availability of the assignment. So by default, the assignment is made available so that students can see it. If this box is not checked off, they won't be able to see it at all. If you do want the assignment to only be available for a limited time, you can limit the availability down here. So if you check any of those boxes, it will give you the option to limit when the assignment starts to display, and also the option to limit when it's not available anymore. So once you've done all of that, you can go ahead and click on Submit. And that will set the assignment up for your students. When they go in to complete their work, they will see something that looks like this. So they've got information on the due date, they've got the points that are possible for the assignment, they've got the instructions, they've got any files that they need to download, and then they'll have the option to attach their own files here. They'll also get a warning if Safe Assign is turned on so that they're aware that that is a thing that their papers will be applied to.